Hey, welcome to the Hell Has an Exit podcast. I'm your host, Brian Alzate. This show is not affiliated with any specific 12-step program. If you or a loved one is struggling with an addiction, please find a local 12-step meeting. If you believe you may need detox or drug treatment of any kind, please call 888-699-9395 to speak to a specialist. The show is sponsored by United Recovery Project, a state-of-the-art drug and alcohol rehab facility. You can visit our website at unitedrecoveryproject.com. All right, welcome to Hell Has an Exit. I'm your host, Brian Alzate. On this show, we interview guests who have survived horrific and deadly things, a lot of it being addiction, being that I'm in recovery, and that's just kind of like what I have access to at this point in time, you know? But we have a lot of cool stories. I did Marty Tankliff. This guy did 16 and a half years in prison. He was wrongfully convicted of double homicide, of killing his parents, and he was actually innocent. We've done a Holocaust survivor, and we've done a bunch of recovering addicts. If you guys are listening to the show, please check us out on Instagram at Hell Has an Exit. That's probably where we're most vocal. They're on video on YouTube, so you can always go on YouTube and check us out. And we have a Twitter, we have a TikTok, so wherever you look up Hell Has an Exit, we will pop up. And today I have Jess Megz here. I've known Jess Megz basically since I've been clean. How long have you been clean now?
Almost 11 years.
Almost 11 years?
Yes.
Wow. So I was clean a while when you, I had like 3-4 years when you got clean. Wow. Yeah. So all I remember from you is like, I remember when you like first started coming around, I remember you like in and out for a while. And then I remember somebody being like, oh, I know that girl. She used to be the plug.
I know who that was.
Yeah. I remember someone was like, yeah, that was the plug. We used to buy oxys from her. Over the years, I mean, you've been one of the people in recovery that like we've seen each other get medallions.
Yep.
We've gone to meetings together for years, conventions, whatever. I've seen you, you know, turn your whole life around. You know, you have a fitness business now, yep. Own a gym. Mm-hmm. You know, it's really cool to see you like living out your dreams. And I don't really know too much of your story. Are you from Florida?
I am.
Okay, so you're Florida.
I was born in New York, moved here when I was like 1 year old, not even 1 year old. Okay. So downtown Fort Lauderdale was like where I grew up, Rio Vista.
Wow, so you're from Fort Lauderdale.
From Fort Lauderdale. Okay. Yep. Right, cool. Raised there, grew up there, got clean there. There. So never really moved from there. Yeah, so I'm local like you.
All right. Yeah. So let's hear it. How did it all start? That's basically it. I'm from Florida.
Yeah, exactly. Do you even need to know anymore?
Whenever I tell people stuff, they're always like, "That's some Florida shit, bro." Like,
yeah, you can definitely tell who's from here and
yeah,
who's
we
not.
have. I mean, I think it's fucked up all over the place, but I just think that Florida people just think of like bath salts and eating people's faces and shit.
I think they think of doctors and blues everywhere.
Doctors and blues, yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, because we're from here, so that's just like normal to us.
Yeah,
you know, normal. But like, yeah, I mean, if you were like living in fucking Kentucky or some shit, you definitely were
drive here,
wishing you were from Florida.
Yeah, drive here, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember like seeing you when I first got here. You're definitely one of the people who I like looked up to. You're young. I always thought that was cool. When I got into recovery, I definitely did not want to. I didn't think it was cool at all to be in recovery, like not even one bit. I didn't really think that it wasn't really like, yay, I'm getting clean now.
Yeah, sounds like the most horrible thing ever.
Totally.
When someone's like, you should go to these meetings, you're like, what? I don't want to go to these fucking meetings with these fucking weirdos.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I remember like actually the first time I tried to get clean or whatever, I went to a meeting because my parents were like threatening me that they were going to kick me out if I didn't go to a meeting. I went to a meeting and girls were like hugging me and I was like, I'm not an addict. I'm here for school. At that time I was in like college for psychology. My minor was substance abuse studies. So, but I wasn't an addict, you know? But yeah, I went to a meeting and the girls were hugging me and I was just like, I don't think I'm with this. I don't think I'm with this at all. But obviously that changed after some time, but yeah.
So hold up. So where'd you go to high school?
I went to American Heritage.
Damn. How old are you?
I'll be 35. Oh.
It's okay. We're getting old.
Yeah, so I know like some of the people that you know.
That I know, yeah.
From
American Heritage, yeah.
Yeah, like Tony and I'll name drop. I don't care.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So that was a whole other group. But yeah, when I got clean this time, I definitely didn't think it was cool because I had already been introduced to the rooms and I didn't stay. And I was like, ugh. You know, especially because it was right around the corner from like my house.
Yeah, people have this idea like, what if people see me there? You know, whatever. But
for some reason, nobody that I got high with
was there.
Had like 2 people. It's right around the corner from my house. I'm like, where are all these people that I got high with that are like not in these meetings? Like everybody should be here. I always think that's crazy that I like never see anybody.
I started seeing them years later, you know, but like when I first got clean, like I thought I was the only one that was going to have to go to these meetings because, like, I was the first one to get really junked out. Like, all my friends kind of held it together. But I knew I needed to go to meetings.
Right.
Like, when I went, I was like, it felt like home plate. Like, I just felt safe there. I felt like this is where I was going to end up. It made sense. And then, like, my other friends were just, like, using, but, like, having fun. And I remember just thinking, like, well, maybe they're just not like me. And then, like, slowly, little by slowly, they all just started trickling in.
Yeah.
But we know a lot of the same people. Some of them are clean still or got clean or whatever.
Some of them did.
What was high school like? Are you cool? You're cool?
See, the thing is about me, that's the funny part. So I actually went to university school for a year and a half.
Oh, wow.
And then I went to Heritage. It's kind of crazy because thinking back, it was very, very much for me like it has been like in recovery at different points. I got really, really good grades. I had a couple really close friends. I was friends with a lot of the boys. And I kind of like found my little niche. But already in high school, like I had been using for years. So,
like what, Adderall and weed or like?
No, so I started smoking weed when I was like, I think 13.
Okay.
Started taking Xanax when I was like 14.
Wow.
So by the time I was 16... sophomore, yeah, I had already figured out that I cannot take Xanax. My first year having my car, I would like wake up. One time I woke up and like my car was like 1 inch from the highway like guardrail thing, and I like woke up and I was like, I didn't crash, but I like woke up and it was like that. I'm like, all right, it was way too obvious for me, but that was kind of like how high school was for me. When something was too obvious, I would just get better grades and try to cover it up. And you know, that's kind of like where like the mask thing started for me. And that was like a big thing for me. It was always like trying to make the outside appearance look like it was put together. The more unmanageable I got like through the years.
And then what happened?
Everything crazy. So high school was high school. I made some close friends. It seemed like kind of like everywhere that I went, it was just kind of like trying to map my way in so I could like use successfully. You know, one time at Heritage, I was just thinking about it, funny story. The drug dogs would come there.
Yeah, all the private schools had that. I remember my friends being like, bro, they got these narc dogs and like you have to like fucking hide your weed like next to your food and say that it's your food or some shit. I remember being like, what? We don't have dogs that come to school.
Yeah, the dogs would come and the way that the buildings are there, it's like the 2000 building all the way to like the 9000 building, and it's like they're in a row. So somebody called me and they're like, they're at the 2000, and I'm like, oh shit. And I'm in the 9000 and I'm like, oh my God. So like I called my mom and I'm like, Mom, I have to go right now. She's like, why? I'm like, just call me out. So I had Coke on me at the time. By that point, I think I was like maybe in like 10th grade. I had Coke on me, and she like, I was like waiting there, like, oh my God, is she gonna call? Because I'm like, by this, there's nowhere to put the Coke. You know what I mean? There's nobody else's Coke besides mine. I remember like walking, like she called me out, and I remember like walking just like past the dogs and just like, shoo, got away with it that time again. But
hang on, so you're doing Coke in 10th grade?
Yeah, I was doing Coke in 9th grade.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I got started pretty early, but like normally you don't hear that until like college. Were you hanging out with older people?
I was. So I had a boyfriend.
You'd be dating them older college guys?
Yeah, no, high school. When I was in
No, I mean, but when you were in high school?
Yeah, they were older. Yeah.
Wow,
when I was in 8th grade, I had somebody that was in like, I think 10th or 11th, or I was in 7th, I think.
Wow.
Or 8th, yeah. And they were in like 10th, I think. Probably on their way to drop out. But yeah, either way. Like around my neighborhood, there was like a group of like older guys, really. And I was just always like very friendly with them. And so I kind of just rolled with them. So I was a little bit introduced to things very, very early.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing bars, figured out that was way too obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And like I figured out very, very young that it was important for me to like get good grades and put on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So that way I didn't look as bad as everybody else. And
you never cheered? You look like a cheerleader. No?
I wasn't a cheerleader. No.
All right, cool.
No, I played sports like young, but then that became not cool too. So I kind of just, even though like it is cool, but
you just thought it was whack.
Yeah, I thought it was whack. It took up too much time. So I just nerded it out when I wasn't getting high, you know?
Gotcha.
So yeah, I started super, super young, kind of ran through like all the different drugs. It was a lot of coke in high school, and it was a lot of like just getting by of not getting in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like a lot of very, very, very close calls, like a lot of them. You know, getting stopped by the cops in like my neighborhood and somebody that knows me driving by and like getting me off. Or like I got arrested one time and the case got lost somehow and they just like never called me. So, like, it was a lot of, like, those. It was a lot of, like, run-ins. It was a lot of, like, me talking my way out of it because I'm from a good family. I lived in a nice neighborhood. And I would always somehow work into the conversation that I got really good grades. And, it worked. It's got me off, like, multiple times until it didn't get me off anymore, you know? Like high school was a lot of that and a lot of just like, it was still fun then. Like it was still fun then. I think it wasn't until like the end of high school, I was into college really, like maybe like first or second year that shit started to get like pretty bad. You know?
You really thought you'd going to be like a substance abuse counselor? Is this really like your dream?
When I was in, I think 10th grade, I had a boyfriend that I had known throughout the years. And I actually knew him since preschool. And it was someone who I knew in middle school. We had a little crush on each other. It was like one of my first boyfriends. And then later in life, we met up. And naturally, anybody that I'm linking up with is also like crazy, getting high. So at that time, he was on probation, still using. We actually got arrested together. He was just out of control. I got a call one day.
How old were you at the time?
I was in, I think, 10th grade.
Okay.
We got a knock at the door. Our house was being renovated. We were staying at the house next door. And I was with my family. Like I was still living, obviously, with my family in 10th grade at this time. And we got a knock at the door, and it's a detective. And I'm home, and my mom answers the door, and she's like, what the hell is this? And it wasn't like a cop. It was like a detective.
Yeah.
Right? And I guess she's talking to him outside, whatever, and I come and I'm, being nosy and I'm like, what is this all about? And come to find out, they're looking for...
Your boyfriend.
Yeah, so I had just broken up with him because he was just out of control. He had like violated he had a ankle monitor on and he was like had to stay in like this halfway house.
Naturally, red flag.
Right. But I knew him and I knew his family.
Yeah, he's like a nice guy.
Right, he's really nice. He violated that, so we had broken up. The detective came to the house looking for him because there was a murder.
Wow.
A murder and a robbery. And it was in like Lauderdale by the Sea. And they were looking for him because they found his DNA. And I hadn't had a lot of experiences with like
police or whatever.
People getting into real trouble or like seeing drugs be in front of my face, the demise of a human being. Because he was like very smart, from a good family, all those things. And they found him. And what happened was that he strangled and raped and was convicted and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And I went to the court case and I was there and I was supportive. But that was probably what really like sparked my interest into wanting to get into the field of, substance abuse, psychology, because I thought it was just very, very interesting to me. And so I actually was originally going to school to be a forensic psychologist, to do like insanity defense and that kind of stuff.
Wow, that's cool.
So that was what I originally was planning on going to school for.
Where'd you go to college?
Nova.
Oh, yeah. Wow. So you stayed here?
Stayed here because by that time, one of the main reasons, and I always talk about this with my mom too, is she's like, you should have gone away to school. And I was like, I couldn't leave. Where am I going to go to another city where I don't know where drugs are? And so that was like, even at that point, like it was like definitely like ruling my life at that point too.
So by the time you left high school, you were already heavily using?
Heavily using by the time I left high school for sure. Still progressing though, like a lot of ecstasy, a lot of like weekend, like staying in hotels, like
Party
roll
drugs.
parties, a lot of that. So it was still like a lot of like party drugs. And it was still very manageable for me. I do know like it was very obvious also to me very early on that people would use on the weekends. And I was just able to use all the time. So by the time I was into college, I was already using every day for sure. Definitely smoking weed every day and definitely doing a lot of other things every day. Already starting to like figure out how to manage my way through basically like fooling people. Cause like that, like I said, the outer appearance was always like very, very important to me. And I did care. Like I didn't go like full fledged into it where it's like I was like, oh, you know, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna go and do whatever. Like I really did care. Didn't want to be obvious that that's what I was doing. So I kind of just managed my way through it. I think I first got arrested like in my first year of college. So the first time was for writing fake prescriptions.
Hang on, backtrack. When did you first get introduced to opiates?
Not
Oh,
yet.
so you're just writing prescriptions?
I think it was for Xanax.
You were writing prescriptions for Xanax?
I stole a pad from the psychiatrist that I went to.
What? That you went to? Your psychiatrist? You stole a pad? And you thought you could just scrabble some shit?
Yeah. I had done it before and gotten away with it.
Really?
Yeah.
I always wondered. I'm like, there's no way you could just steal a pad and just fucking write. Like, what the fuck do you write on there? I guess you
I looked
just
it up. I Googled it, obviously.
You're like, duh, I just fucking Googled what needs to be on there. So well, I guess you have prescriptions for other shit, so you just kind of see how she writes it.
Yeah. So
how did they catch you? She reported stolen or she knew it was stolen?
So when they called to verify, like, it was like obvious that, so then so I did that the one time, and then after that I would call to refill it. One of the times that I called to refill it, they called to check on it.
Oh, wow.
And so they said that it was done and refilled, and then they had me like wait.
The cops came?
The cops came.
You didn't think to run?
I was like in a closed. No, I was scared at that point. That was like my first time, like my first run in where I actually didn't get away with it.
Wow.
So I was like locked in. That was the first time that I was ever like locked in a room where I was like, all right, I can't like leave.
Oh, I thought they did this at the pharmacy.
Yeah, I mean, I could have ran. Okay. I didn't run. I was a good girl.
Okay. Every time I've ever had like a forged check and they're like, stay right here, pal. And like the door locks behind you. I'm always like,
I gotta go to the bathroom. Yeah. Like, let me go. So that was the first time that I ever got arrested. That was actually the first time that I ever went to a 12-step meeting. I was like sentenced to drug court down here. Like that was like the thing.
Were you scared after it all happened, or were you just like, this is just some stupid little charge?
Honestly, I was like, this is some stupid little charge.
Yeah. Because I think what happened to me was like the first time I got arrested, I'm like, my whole life is over, da da da.
Yeah.
And then your life just goes on as normal, and you got to go to court, and then it's just like some stupid little charge. And then you kind of feel invincible as those things kind of keep happening because you're like, wow, I thought this was the worst thing ever, and I'm still here, you know?
Yeah, and especially with the drug court thing, like I think that the drug court is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It's totally amazing. I think that it's like, you know,
especially
to give
in
us
Florida, like, yeah, we have crazy drugs, but we have really good drug programs compared to like other states.
Right, totally. So, I mean, I'm all for like giving another chance and stuff like that. I think that that's like I think I'm all for that. In my case, it definitely gave me the sense of, oh, it's just drug court. And like, listen, I know like a lot of people during that period of time that were starting to get in trouble. Like those are like the years I'm getting into my 20s. So the people obviously that I like associated with friends starting to get in trouble, like I usually did, kind of found a way around it. So it was easier for me to get away with more. But that's when I was introduced to, you know, a 12-step program. That's when I went to a meeting for the first time. And it's funny because I had literally had textbooks that I recently found while it was
about
when I was
12-step meetings.
About 12-step meetings, about the whole thing. And I was like, I literally like took notes on this in school and either did make the association or really didn't make the association, one of the two.
How did you feel like your first couple of meetings?
So I felt when I walked into a meeting for the first time, I felt extremely uncomfortable. I felt that I immediately needed to justify to like myself and outwardly that like I'm not like you at all. I'm not like you people. And I actually still like remember the feeling of the first meeting that I ever went to because I was like coming off of shit and I was just like, ugh, I don't want to be here. And the women that are still around today were so like nice. They like did not let me fly under the radar at all. And it was a very good experience. They were like super loving and super nice. And I'm like, I'm not here. I'm here for school, for a project for school. Yeah. They're like, yeah, you look like shit, girl. You ain't here for that. Whether I identified in my brain or not that like I was an addict, I think that after I went to a first meeting, there was definitely something inside of me that was like, yo, like you center your entire life around getting high. Like you center everything around getting high.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to like hear the readings and it not strike a chord. Like 100%. I remember going to meetings and being like kind of skeptical, but when they would do the readings, there was a part of me that would be like, damn, you know? And then like, as much as I didn't want to feel like I wanted to be there, there was this like undenying relatability to the people speaking. And there'd be a guy get up and you'd be like, nothing in common with this fucking guy. And then he'd get done sharing and you'd be like, wow.
Yep. I think I wanted always to like fit in and feel understood. That's like, that is always a really big thing for me. Like I feel very misunderstood. Like when
all addicts.
Right.
All addicts. Right. Like every time I hear someone's story, I feel like I never fit in. And like when I first got clean, I thought like I would hear like, I was molested when I was little. I grew up in a shitty family. I thought like every story would be like that.
Right.
But every family every story is just about like this feeling of like not feeling comfortable in your own skin.
Yep.
Just feeling less than, feeling uncomfortable, not feeling like good enough.
100%. Always not enough, not fitting in, not understood, like very misunderstood. Like maybe because I really didn't understand myself. I didn't really understand how I could want to succeed in life so much and really have ambition, but also just be reckless, just reckless. You know what I mean? Like just not, at the end of the day, reckless. Even to myself, I was kind of like a conundrum. Like I wouldn't really go off the full deep end, but it was just enough to just constantly self-sabotage. Like any progress I would ever make was constantly self-sabotaging. So when I went to a meeting, I think that the thing for me was the relatability, but also it was like the fact that like it was undeniable that there was a part of me that felt comfortable and felt like I was understood. You know what I mean?
Was it hard being a woman? Because like I know like I didn't realize it until I helped like a close friend of mine get clean who was a girl. I think you're tougher than her, but like I remember started bringing her to meetings, and because I'm a guy, I never realized that most meetings are all guys. And I think like I don't know, maybe like hung out with guys more, you like felt more comfortable there. But like I remember like going with her and like her just feeling uncomfortable and like guys constantly hitting on her, and then like I remember like this guy took her phone and like put his number in it, and I was just like, wow, like I never understood how beneficial a woman's meeting might be for somebody.
I was super, super blessed this time around because I had like a group of girls that I was in treatment with. So when I got out, we were like super close. We went to all meetings together. And I think that obviously, my sponsor said, don't get in a relationship for a year, but my therapist said, you guys aren't allowed to talk to boys. And I was already like, it doesn't say that anywhere. I'm doing it. So show me where it says that in the book. If it's not there, it ain't it. But I'll tell you, that's the most pain that I put myself through clean stemmed from that, like ended terribly every time. So I think that maybe the attention seeking part of it liked that. There's definitely more dudes. But then the part that was the protective part, like I was very, very about my recovery this time, like super a lot. And I think that having that group of women like from the start really saved me. Yeah.
All right. So you get arrested the first time. You go to drug court. You start going to meetings.
Yep.
And then what happens?
Was not ready. I found a way that I was thinking about it today. And I'm like, yo, this is so wild. I was in drug court. At that time, I'm like, all right, I got to get a job. I moved in with a high school friend that lived right near Nova. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to try to do like the college thing a little bit, right? Within no time, I was like, these meetings are whack. I don't like them. And I started meeting people, and my ability to be like, I am an addict was just not there. So right away, it was like, oh, I have to go to these meetings because I have to go.
For drug court.
Right, for drug court, exactly. And so within no time, it was like fumbling again. The same thing I had done my entire life, where I would be 1 foot here, 1 foot here, the mask on here, the mask on there. Within no time, I was drinking like college style. And I don't even like to drink. Disgusting. But like with that, Coke in 1 second. So I'm drinking, I'm finding Coke in 2 seconds. So I was on drug court, and like with drug court, you got to like go and take a drug test. Like first it's like weekly. But I was working at this I think this pizza place. I had like a couple of different jobs at that point while I was going to school. And I remember I would literally take my paycheck and go to the head shop and buy fake pee. And my entire paycheck would be used to buy fake pee from the head shop so that I could.
Why? It's so expensive?
It was just like a lot of drug tests.
Oh, wow.
A lot of drug tests. And like I was drinking, and then I smoked weed, which is ridiculous.
It stays in your system.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing to do on drug
I'm like,
court.
I don't know why I did this. And then within 2 weeks, like I was just back using again. So right around that time is when I got like introduced to opiates. And that was obviously when a lot of things totally changed for me. I wound up getting off drug court.
How?
Because I bought fake pee all the time.
Wow, you completed it?
As an all-star.
You completed it?
I never once failed a drug test.
Wow.
I never once failed a drug test.
Damn, that's fun. Who'd you have? Judge Pollock? No, Judge Beach?
Yeah. I hope she's not listening.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yep.
Well, she must be proud now.
Yep.
So that whole year, you're still using, but you buy fake pee and you complete drug court, and then you complete drug court, and then you find opiates?
Yeah, I think it was right in the middle of that while I was on drug court.
What was your first couple opiates experience like?
The first time I swallowed a blue. Somebody was literally like, an ex-boyfriend was like, here, take this. You know?
What a nice guy.
I know. I was just like, okay, you know, because what am I not? By that time, I'm like, do anything. You know what I mean? And it's so crazy because like I really didn't know like even what it was going to feel like, really anything.
Because when you're on drugs, you like do drugs like they're going over speed bumps, like
right.
And you just like think it's just like another thing that you're trying, and no one tells you like, hey, this little pill is one of the most addictive drugs on the planet. It might as well be heroin. And I remember like a friend being like, bro, it's like heroin. And my other friend was like, no, heroin is heroin.
Right.
And I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah, heroin is heroin.
Heroin's heroin. This isn't heroin. Heroin is heroin. But
yeah, I've told myself that a million times throughout my years of doing shit. But yeah,
So you swallowed, did you get super nauseous? Or you
super nauseous.
Yeah.
Super nauseous, threw up, and then I was like, I want another one.
Yeah, after the puke feels nice.
Yeah, after the puke was like, it was just on and popping. I think I like sniffed the next one. Everything went up the nose. But yeah, so it was like a very quick, like, I want it every day. There was no like lapse of time where I was like, oh, you know, I'll do that again in a couple weeks when I get it was right off rip. It was like an everyday thing.
More and more.
More and more.
Was your boyfriend really into them at the time, or was he just kind of starting out too?
He was actually, he like took it as like, oh, here, look, I could get these. But he wasn't really like into it like that.
You were into it.
I became into it right after that. And he actually went very, very quickly after that. He went to basic training. So we like broke up.
He like lived a normal life.
No, I mean, not really, but okay. I was left alone with like a vicious habit after like 2 months of like, and after that, it was just like ridiculous. So by that time I was already definitely not going to meetings anymore. I'm off drug court. It was just me and a terrible habit.
Blue habit.
Yep.
And you started doing blues, not oxys.
So then very after that, it was the 80s.
The 80s.
When they were still real 80s, though.
Yeah. All right. So you start doing blues, and then you start doing 80s.
Yeah, those were the good old days, though. You know?
What year is this?
This is probably 2007.
2007.
Yep.
Okay.
Good old days. You know, everything was crazy then.
When I started doing opiates, I didn't like doing them, but they were just like everywhere. And like, I didn't want to do them, but like, I didn't want to say no either. But like, my thing was like crack at the time.
Right.
And it's like crack and blues are two totally different drugs.
Right.
No one really wanted to smoke crack. Like, it was just like me by myself and like maybe like this crack house I would go to. And then like,
why was it always about the crack houses back then? Is that still a thing?
Yeah, there's got to be crack houses.
I literally, the guy that I'm talking about, I would actually, he smoked crack.
Oh,
and
wow.
I mean, I did too with him, but he...
Even back then? You smoked crack before you did opiates?
Right around the same time. Is when all the shit went downhill. But yeah, he would like, I would like
wake up. They go hand in hand.
Yeah, they do. He would wake up. I would wake up in the middle of the night and he'd be gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, he's at the crack house. So I would like get in my car and go there. And I would go outside the crack house. And I would lay my hand on the horn until he would come out.
Fucking devil. That's like the most.
They hated me.
I would kill somebody if they did that. I'd freak the fuck out.
They would come out like all
with like a machete. Yeah,
literally. I would lay my hand on the horn. He'd come out. Okay.
Wow. You're like, get back inside. We had tonight's date night. How could you?
Get out of that fucking crack house now.
Oh my God. Wow. So I didn't know that you did crack like that. Did you like crack?
Yeah. But I was like one of those people who would like coke too. I mean, actually sometimes not, but I was like the one that would be like, okay, it's like time to like go to bed
save
now.
It for later?
No. It's time to go to bed now.
Because when you said you had coke in your pocket in school, I was like, eh.
I did coke a lot through the entire time. Okay. Yeah. Crack was like kind of like here and there. Mm-hmm. It was like a special occasion thing.
Around.
Yeah, sprinkled around. But yeah, some crazy experiences with like wasn't always a go to sleep thing. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I was thinking about how tweaked out I would get in my parents' house and like hear the cracks on the floor and be like, oh my God, they're coming, and like hiding and shit.
Yeah, I used to see stuff. I used to be so fucked up I would have real like hallucinations.
Yeah, for real. I would always think my parents were coming. Maybe like 9th grade, I would literally like sneak out and totally think that they were coming every single time. I would sneak out like almost every single night because I had an older boyfriend. I would take their car. Yeah. Drive their car. Wow. Come back, park it, put the key specifically where it was supposed to be, tiptoe back to my room, always think that they were coming, peek out of the thing like a fucking weirdo.
Every night you think tonight's the night you're going to get caught.
Yeah, that's just another like crazy thing. But yeah, so the downfall was just really bad at that point. Like I thought that I was untouchable. I thought that was obviously I'd gotten off a drug court scot-free. Mm-hmm. Whatever. But by that time I had such a bad habit and I really was like trying to meet people and trying to figure out like who was who. My whole entire thing was around like not being obvious. So I was really like never at the point where I was willing to go like to get low enough to where like I would be found out.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember serving people up and they'd have like textbooks and be like, I gotta go to class.
Yeah.
And just being like, what?
That was me.
Yeah.
I wound up having to go to like a methadone clinic within that period of time because like...
Wow. When did you start getting sick?
So the first time I got sick, I was like, what the fuck is this? Yeah. I didn't even know that was going to be a thing.
I didn't get sick for like a year because I just like was doing them. I never even thought I was addicted to them.
Yep.
I was just doing them all the time because it was like... They give you energy, like people don't realize, like opiates give you like massive energy. So I'm like, this is like Coke, but you can leave the house.
Yep.
And I would just do them and do them and do them. And like, you know, I would smoke crack whenever I could, sprinkled it around, you know. And I really was like, it's better than crack. Like I really was like, well, it's better than smoking crack. Like that's how I kind of justified it. And then when I started to get sick, I was like, I thought that was a myth. Like, I really thought that it was like in your head because I would hear stories that someone's sick.
Yeah, I would see people get sick.
You're like, yeah, right, bro. You don't really withdraw from this stuff.
I think the first time I actually saw somebody get sick was that's why I loved like the Weston kids.
Oh my God.
Because they were like I feel like they were like normal like me. Uh-huh. But like they were bad.
On heroin. Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, like the kid from Weston Hills.
Yeah. So I went to a kid's house to get 80s and he was like super sick and I was like, is that what's gonna happen to me? if I stop? And he was like, yeah, it's what's going to happen to you if you stop. And I was like, no. And then the first time I couldn't like get something, in that period of time, I had like this like drug dealer that lived on Broward and 441. And I would literally like be such a psycho that I would like call him back to back to back, do like things around his house, like laps around his house, like a psycho.
Running errands.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm right in your neighborhood.
I just happen to be right here.
Yeah. But that to me was like, I got to figure out a way where I don't have to do this. Because I was not about the methadone clinic. I did not want to do any of that. But crazy enough, I met a lot of people at the methadone clinic. That was like my number one hookup.
Who the fuck told you to go there?
My high school best friend who was also using.
Wow. Yeah.
Shout outs to her.
Yeah. Because I remember being like, wanting to go to the methadone clinic and people being like, yo, you're crazy, like whatever. But the first time I did methadone, I was like, this is fire.
Yeah.
It makes you feel good. Like, it's not just like you felt nice on it. Like, it was a relief doing methadone because I'm like, oh, I could just take this for the rest of my life.
It was, for me, it was like a placeholder until I could find something else.
Gotcha.
So I would go in the morning and then it would just be like a placeholder till like 12:01.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Till I could like find something else. But yeah, like right around that time, like I literally, my friend who I'm actually talking about, my best friend, one time I was sick and we drove to Miami because at that time she was doing heroin. I was literally like sitting there sick and she was like, you're going to do this for the first time. And I was like right there with the needle and I just like, I didn't do it. So I've like actually like never shot up, but I was right there and I didn't even do it sick. But I was like, I got to figure out a way to not be sick anymore because this is not working for me.
Yeah.
So I met all these connects at the methadone clinic. Like that was like where my number one, I got a whole Rolodex of people that were going to doctors, that were getting like their scripts, getting them filled, like rotating with other people. And that's kind of like how I got into that. I met like a group of people that were just like from the methadone clinic. And I kind of just like got in with them and saw how all of that worked. They would just go to the doctor. They would have like a bunch of other people that would go to doctors too. And they'd all like
Sponsor
basically...
them.
But that time they were all getting their own and they were just holding each other over. So it was like a circle.
Yeah. It's a fun community.
Yeah, fun community, exactly. So like everybody was sharing their pills and it was like, you know, at that time it was like 224 blues, 112 greens, 15s, Xanax, Somas. And so I was like, oh, okay, this is how this is working. So I was like, I want in on this. So I think the first time that I like had any run-in with a doctor or anything like that, I think that I like got up enough money or somehow had money. I'm going to pay for your doctor and you're going to give me the split.
Yeah.
And that was the first time that I had that experience. And then I was like, wow, this is really something here. You know what I mean? I didn't have to go. I like could stay far away from it. I wasn't me going to the doctor, you know, at first.
It's crazy now that I think about it because it's like, there was people that had scripts and they didn't have $200 to go get it.
Yep.
And now that I'm an adult, it like blows my mind.
Yeah.
But I remember being like, oh, fuck, so-and-so has a script.
Yep.
Which is like $2,500 worth of pills
right.
for $200, you know?
Yep.
And the fact that it was like a struggle to scrape up or like someone had to like pay for the script and then get broken off was like this whole fiasco. And I didn't have the $100 either to throw up for it. I just like was like a dot connector.
Right.
And then like I'd be like,
you get 5.
Can I get my 5? Yeah. Can I get like my 2 pills so I'm not sick because I introduced you guys?
For 3 hours you're on the phone.
8-hour whole mission. I don't want to get cut out of the deal, you know? So it's like,
so you gotta be like in
I have
on
to
it.
be in, like, I'm not going to give you his number or whatever. You got to hold my phone for collateral. And then like they fucking meet up and like they fucking break me off like my little fucking 3 pills.
Did all the work for that. Yeah. Exactly.
And then we'll go home happy as fuck.
And then people are like missing for an hour and you're like, they're not answering, you know, missions.
All day,
all day missions.
Prepares you for the real world.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, for sure. It definitely
teaches you how to multitask.
Yep. 100%. And be an entrepreneur if you really take it, you know, far. But yeah, so that was like the first time that I like saw that firsthand. And I definitely like wanted a piece of that. So everything that I did from that point on was just deeper and deeper and deeper into that whole life. So it started with like sponsoring people. By that time I was selling weed because I'm like, let me get a little money.
Okay.
So I was selling weed.
Trap queen.
And I was like, let me, just have this on the side. At least I'll be able to make a little bit.
Like, what are you saying? Like, what are you selling? Like eighths and half eighths, or like?
I mean, I was probably getting like a QP at that time, and then breaking people off.
Okay.
Whatever. So, I mean, I knew a lot of people that smoked weed. So that was like a thing. So that was like a little bit extra money. And I wasn't really smoking anymore because I was like, whatever, maybe a little bit. And then I was like, you know what? What about the coke? Let me start doing that too, because I can manage that. I could take a little bit of that out of that, but like still maybe either get free coke or maybe make a little profit. So I'm like, okay, so I have that on the side. I'm doing that. I'm sponsoring a couple people at the doctor. I got introduced to this guy that lived in Aventura. We started hanging out. He was like a Weston kid. I was friends with his girlfriend, and like he was like the man. Like he definitely had a lot of connects. He like didn't use.
He just sold drugs.
He didn't really like sell drugs though. He like was like the middleman of like the
plug.
Yeah, kinda. And he would like get broken off, and I was like, yo, he's smart. He never really like had anything on him.
He never like touched anything.
So I had a boyfriend
he's
during
a broker.
Yeah, he's a broker. Okay. Exactly. Smart way to do it. But so I wound up dating one of the friends, and I literally had to lie about doing blues. So like a lot of the people that I hung out with, there was one group that were all the doctor people, and then there was a whole nother group that like got high kinda, but didn't do blues. And so I lied for years about doing blues. Like I had a whole ass boyfriend that barely even knew that I did blues, and I was doing 20, 30 a day at that point.
If you don't run out, it's really easy to manage, and like you almost think that you can work on it, you can do whatever on it.
You can. I had straight A's.
Yeah, get good grades, whatever. It doesn't really start to just...
The problem is when you don't have them.
Yeah, if you can have them, you're fine. But if you don't, you're like selling a microwave at 2 in the morning.
Literally, you're like, I can't move, you know? I remember the first time that he was like, you want me to front you some shit? And I was like, well, yeah. I mean, I want you to... By this time, I'm flipping things quickly, you know? I'm having multiple, people that I'm getting coke from. I have multiple people that I'm getting weed from. And he was just like, do you want me to just like front you a bunch of shit? And I'm like, yeah. I didn't know that was what he meant. And so he sent me home with like a couple of ounces of coke, like a couple pounds of weed, I think 1,000 blues.
Wow.
And he was like, give me my money back. You'll make all the money, and then you'll have money forever after this to do this on your own. And I successfully sold all of those drugs.
Yeah, so 1,000 blues, it's got to be like what, 10 grand at least.
It wound up being a lot of money. So from that point, so when I saw how much and so I had all those people from the methadone clinic that were already like running out of their shit. And I had so much that I couldn't even possibly, even if I'm doing as many as I'm doing every day, I mean, there's no way I could run through those. So I just got rid of it and stacked my money up. And by that time I was like, okay, now it's on and popping. It was definitely like a couple of years of...
That's why people said you were the plug.
Yeah. Thinking back, like literally 1,000 blues in my safe. And when they got to like 800, I would be obsessing.
Wow.
About not being able to get more.
Nah, I'd be at the Coinstar like, please God, be $30. I'd be like really struggling to come up with $20 to like not be sick. Yeah, I didn't really have it like that. That's
the point though. It's like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, if it's
it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? I could have 10,000.
It matters. When I was using, I was dope sick 3 days a week.
Okay.
Being dope sick 3 days a week sucked. My last year using was so fucking miserable. I remember being like, I'm dope sick more than I'm high.
Yeah.
And I remember, maybe that's why I got clean, because it was just so fucking bad. When I got clean, I was like, wow, I can go to sleep for free. Like I could just not do anything. And like I finally got out of it.
I mean, the other part of that is that like the other hell, knowing that I want to stop, I'm like, let me try to go from 40 to 25, see if I can reduce. And like getting sick and being like, I have 1,000 pills. How the fuck am I going to stop when I have 1,000 pills right here? But knowing that I want to stop. Yeah. So I just started stacking Suboxone and being like, I'm going to take them tomorrow. And I said that to myself every single solitary day. So crazy story. Like it just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Like the people that I like met and like the connections that I made, and I would meet this person and then I'd be like, introduce me to that person. And it was literally like, I was like climbing this like
Drug
weird.
dealer rap.
Yeah, literally to get exactly what I needed. And like, you know, it's funny because I had a boyfriend at that time, and I would just lie to him. Like, I would just be like, I'm going here, I'm going there. Like, I wanted to ride solo. I don't want no help. I don't want no one getting in my way. So after that happened, I like went and got my own MRI at those like MRI. You ever got where they go?
I was too young, but I've been in the parking lot while people get. Yeah, it's like MRI to go or whatever.
You literally like go there, and I'm like, how is this gonna work? And you leave, and it's like, oh, you have like 80 things wrong with your back, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's how it was during that period of time. Mad sketchy.
I remember people used to just sell MRIs. You could just like, yo, call so-and-so, they'll just give you theirs.
Wild.
And then like that was it. But there was mad doctors that used to have a big sign that said no MRI on first visit. And then like they just wouldn't really care.
Yep.
And then I remember this one dude was like, you know, if you ever start shopping, like just tell them it's your back, because your back is something in medicine where like it could look fine, you could have horrible pain.
Right. Exactly.
So I was like, you don't even need to have like a real accident.
Didn't even need it. They like got smart. So like
the database.
Yeah, before the database, it was literally like you could go on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like if you were wild. Like I never did that, but like there were some people that were reckless. Like they did not care, and they would go
to
every
other
day.
counties. Yeah, in other counties. Yeah, Dade County, Palm Beach, Naples, wherever.
Yep. There was like no cap on it then. It was just like running rampant. Doctor places on every single corner. Like you go in there, that you're in and out in 1 second. Like it was insane. And so I was like managing by that time. Like I was in grad school. I had gotten into grad school.
You got into grad school?
Yep. I got into Carlos Albizu University. I was going there. I had straight A's. I was like doing really well. I was selling drugs all day, going to doctors, zooming around in my car crazy style, selling, yelling at people. Like it was staying up all night studying, and just like that every single solitary day, like like slavery at that point. And that's when I actually was like, yo, like I cannot live like this. Like there is nothing that is appealing about this. This is just not even okay. But like I was just in love with the lifestyle of that. Like, and I wish I could tell you I made tons of money and shit, but it was just so that I, like, honestly, so that I could do more and more and more and more and more. Fucking crazy story is that as I'm climbing this like ladder of, I don't even remember how I met this guy, but I wind up randomly selling drugs to this dude, and we're talking about like blues and whatever, and he's like, you know, I'm really good friends with a pharmacist at Walmart. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah. And it's the Walmart right by Dolphin Stadium. So I'm like, okay. So it was like they lived like back there in Miami Gardens, whatever. So I got introduced to this guy, and we sat down like a legit business meeting. I convinced him to do a monthly order of blues there, and I'd bring all my scripts, and he would order them specifically for that. I'd break him off. And so like once a month I would.
So instead of going to different doctors, you would just have this one doctor fill like all
one
these
pharmacist, one time a month, fill all the scripts.
Of people that you brought, or all your scripts?
All the people, all the people that I would coordinate it.
Yeah.
I would coordinate it.
They physically would come?
They physically would come one time a month. Yeah. So all the other doctors,
cool.
Yeah, there'd be like, you know, they'd be like
line
expensive ones. Yeah. But there was one, and they were $1
each.
They were $1 blues.
Wow.
That was crazy.
Wow, that's pretty fire.
Yeah, so that was like that thing. So I wound up like meeting this guy, and like he's the pharmacist at Walmart. So like I got in that way.
They were probably 12 at that point, right? 10, 12?
They were like 10 and 12
on the street.
Yep. So, and it was like, you know, so if we're talking, I think I would bring like 9, 10 people once a month. So, and I would get half of everybody else's.
Wow.
And then all of mine.
You had it made in the shade.
Yeah.
I'm over here jealous. I'm just thinking about
No. You know, that obviously was only sustainable for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
You know, I think that like it got to the point where it still wasn't enough to like make me feel anything. You know, I think that at that point, like it was so, there was such a difference between like what I really, like what I wanted for myself, right? And like what I was doing. And even though it was slightly using my skills in some way, it really was just a cover up to continue to like get high, really.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you still have that giant hole in your heart that not filled. You just hate yourself and live in this lie, wearing this mask.
Yep, all day long. And you know, I met friends at like new friends in the graduate, like in my doctorate program. So I was going, it was a PsyD program, and I like met these like girls, and there was like this nice like girl that was like so nice to me, and like she's like coming over to like study, and I'm like in the bathroom like making a mountain out of like 10 blues, and, like sniffing in the bathroom, like and like, you know, it's crazy. Like there, it was like two different people. It was just two different people, and that was almost more work to keep up than even all the selling and all the doctors and shit. You know what I mean? And all the missions that I had to go on every single solitary day, and it just started to get fucking old. I was constantly like looking over my shoulder. I remember sitting down one time and being like, and really feeling like, okay, this is like, I don't know if you ever got the feeling, but like where you just feel like it's about to be done.
Yeah.
Where like I was like, you know, I think I had gotten robbed like maybe like a couple times in a row. Just like little robberies where I was like, oh, whatever, take down. So I don't give a shit. But, you know, but like little things like that where I'm just like, yo, like I need to chill out because, you know, and those moments of clarity where I would like look my parents in the face or like look myself in the face in the mirror and just be like, what is happening? What the fuck am I doing? You know? And like where I would get like a drop in my stomach of like, I'm going to go to fucking jail for the rest of my life. Legitimately. And that's when the database started happening, and that's when people started getting popped like all the time. You know, like I started to know and hear about people that were getting arrested like and getting sentenced literally to 7 years, 8 years, 6 years, like it was nobody's business.
Yeah, I remember people getting arrested and you'd be like, damn, how much do they have on them? And you think they'd have like 12,000 pills. And they're like, bro, they had 6. And you're like, what? I remember this kid did like 6 years for 6 blues. And I was just like, what? They were just like really making an example out of people.
Yep. So that did get me a little bit scared, obviously, at that period of time. And so there were many times where I sat down and I said to myself, okay, how do I stop selling? I couldn't even figure out. And this is like a true ass story. I sat down one day with a piece of paper and a pen, and I was trying to figure out how to get my money out of one thing to get it from being in the next thing. And I was like, I can't even stop if I want to. I don't even know how to stop right now. It was just all going. Yeah. And I was like, okay, so basically I just made an operation that is just running and I don't even know how to stop it. And that's when I was like, oh shit, like this is just fucking crazy. Might as well keep going, you know? But I felt like it was coming to an end. I felt like it was coming to an end. Right around that time, like I was still living in my parents' house. I had like kind of like a cottage on, it was like a kind of like a side part of the house that was like separated with its own entrance. I was at a Dolphins game and my mom found like 100 pill bottles, and she was like, she thought I was clean since the drug court all the way before, you know what I mean? She was like, why are there 5,000 pill bottles here? And I was like, I was putting the weed in there, and I don't even know what I said. That happened, and then a couple of other things happened where it's like I felt like my time was running out, and I would lay in bed at night and say to myself, like, I'm gonna tell them, like, if I told them that I needed help, who cares at this? It's not like I wanted to tell them so bad that I like needed help, like for real, and I wanted to stop. And by that time, I think I had like maybe 80 Suboxones from stacking them because I was gonna get clean tomorrow. It was just like I felt like time was running out, and I was rushing around, had a pound of weed on me. Somebody called me for a half-eighth. And I opened up the pound, and it was stinking my car. And I was driving super, super fast, and I got pulled over. Wow.
For a half-eighth. That's crazy.
To eye out a half-eighth. Yeah. I didn't have anything. I didn't really have, I mean, I had my own pill bottles with my names on them, but nothing really else.
And a pound of weed.
And a pound of weed. And so another crazy story. So me in my craziness, thinking that I can talk my way out of stuff, I did a sob story to the cop, said that I had a test tomorrow, which was true. I was crying. I was saying that the weed was for my mom because she has cancer.
Shut up.
Which my mom did have cancer like years prior.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
the best lie is always a half truth.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, it's just like came so easily too. I'm crying. It's for my mom. She has cancer. I'm a good girl, I swear. And they're like, I'm like, I have a lawyer. And so they wound up calling my lawyer and they set it up to where I wouldn't go to jail that day. My lawyer set it up to where I could go to jail. I think that was maybe like a Tuesday or Wednesday where I could go to jail on Friday night.
Wow. This doesn't happen to minorities, just so you know. It doesn't happen to men. It definitely doesn't happen to minorities.
I mean, I'm not really necessarily proud of it, what happened to me.
Hey,
but
I'm just pointing out the facts, okay?
Oh,
that
no.
would never happen to me
Am I
in
gonna
a
start
million
a whole
years.
thing? Am I going to start a whole thing now?
You should,
oh, my
bro.
God.
We're going to protest. Like, how
Oh,
come this
shit.
girl got off on her pound of weed charge?
It was 2011. It wasn't so crazy
Oh,
yet.
my God.
So I was like, and you know, I wish I could tell you, I wish I could sit here and tell you that the feeling of relief that I had was like, wow, second chance.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't.
You're
it was like
whatever.
got off again.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! You know?
Mm-hmm.
Talk my way out of that shit again. Whew. So on Friday rolled around. People are going out. I'm going to jail. See you later. I'm going to jail for the night. And like, I literally remember, so I had like socks on and all this shit, like bundled up, ready to go into jail. And my dad drove me. And I literally.
Oh, you told your parents?
So my parents knew.
Are they mad?
It was weed. So it was
You're
it was a silver lining.
It was, Mom, it's just like a pound of
Yeah.
weed. Were you scared about being sick in jail, or you weren't really tripping because it was only a day?
No, I was tripping.
Yeah.
So I literally started in the morning, swallowed 3 and snorted 3 every like 40 minutes or something like that. And not only that, the jail is 2.5 minutes from my house.
Mm-hmm.
I put some in my sock to take the moment before I walked in.
Yeah.
That's how ridiculous that was.
Yeah.
So I literally, the moment before I got out of the car and they handcuffed me, I ate 2 more.
Wow.
I was like, if I swallow them,
They'll
maybe
hit you
it'll
slower.
stay longer.
Yeah, longer half-life in jail. Wow.
Still got sick that time. By the time I got out, I was like
dying.
sick.
Yeah.
Sick. Like, get me the fuck home. So I was there. That happened. Boom. So by that time, I'm out on bond, and I was at that point, I was like, there's no way I can be meeting up with 20 people in a day. There's no way that I can there's no way I could really do this. I'm out on bond. I thought probably I would get drug court again because it was a pound of weed. I'm thinking like maybe I'll get drug court again. Then I'm going to have to get clean. I'm not going to fake that. And so it was, the big thing was like, let me figure out how to stop selling, but not stop selling because I didn't know how to stop. And I'm going to tell my parents I need help tomorrow. So I'm out on bond at this point, and I decided I'm going to give this girl, because I trusted her. She was like a mom, and she was like kind of trustworthy and timid. I was going to give her my stuff. She was going to keep a tally. I was going to meet up with her every couple days, count the shit, get the money, and I would just kill her if she didn't have my money or something like that. And like I broke her off, whatever. So I turned myself in on March, I think 12th of 2011. I think I got arrested on the 9th. I think I turned myself in on the 12th. So on the 17th, so that's lasted 4 days. This plan was a 5-day plan.
Yeah, there you go.
That's how good it was. It was our first time meeting up.
Yeah.
We decided to meet up at the Hooters on worst place ever. The Hooters on University.
On University, like Pine Island?
And Pines and University.
Pines Boulevard, yeah.
I don't even know why, but I was on my way from school. That was where she lived. So I'm like, let's just meet there really quick. So it's St. Patty's Day night. I needed to meet up with her bad because at that point, like I'm doing all my shit. She has the majority of it. I'm like sick already. I'm like, oh my God, I need to meet up now. And I get in her car. She had Coke. I did a bump of Coke.
Helps detox.
So I'm like there. We're chilling for a second. I'm like, yes, finally. So mind you, she has in this car, she has all of the stuff, all of the tallies, like all of the people's names and tallies. She's not only meeting up with the people, she's meeting up with all the people that went to the doctors, getting their split of the pills, hopefully giving them the right amount of money. I'm going nuts because I'm like, yo, if is this girl gonna like do it right, you know? And I'm like, oh my God, this is too stressful. I'm out on bond. My second felony drug charge now. I'm out on bond, and we're in this parking lot, and all of a sudden, jump out boy knocks on the window, tells me to roll down the window, tells me to get out of the car. The first thing I said was, my life is over. So it's probably not the thing you're supposed to say when like a jump out boy is at the car door. But that was literally like, and like I said before, I had known so many people during that period of time
that went to jail
for that trafficking charge. Like I knew people that were getting 8 and 7 years, like it was nobody's business. And that whole day I was looking over my shoulder. That whole day I was like, this day is a weird day.
I always share, like, every time I've ever been arrested, I, like, felt that it was, like, something bad was gonna happen. And, like, I really believe in energy, but, like if you watch, like, that movie Heat, like, it really is like that. Like, you can really feel when something just isn't right. You cannot stop it. Like, you just are so in the moment that you just can't. You know that it's, like, not a good day. You feel something's off, like, something's weird, and, like, you just can't stop.
It was, my life at that point was in such autopilot that I was just empty. Like, I was just in go mode.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, now looking back on it, what? How did I have that much energy to, like, do all of those things? But at that point, it was just such autopilot, and so, like, I have to do it. Like, there was no stopping it. And it was genuinely just centered around the lifestyle and just centered around, like, getting high. Like, there was no way I was running out. Like, I don't give a shit what I had to do. I was not going to fucking run out. And, like, what I would do to, like, I was on a fucking mission, you know? And so it had gotten bigger than me, is what I'm saying. Like, it genuinely had gotten bigger than me. And I was so, like, empty at that point that, like, that's kind of what the force was that was driving my life. It was a couple days prior to, like, getting arrested that time. I like looked in the mirror, and I remember crying, looking in the mirror, and, like, saying, like not even knowing what the like, really having one of those moments. And I've had those moments I've had those moments, you know? So I wound up getting arrested with I think it was like something like 600, 700 blues.
Was the girl like, it's all hers?
So the girl was in the driver's seat. She was very timid. They actually left me in the car, and they made her get out first. And I had, like, a lockbox, and I threw the key in the back just on impulse. And so they left me in the car. They separated us. And guess what the first thing I asked them was?
Am I going to jail?
No.
What'd you say?
Can I please just have one blue?
Wow. They were like, no.
They were like, you're done for. So mind you, third felony drug charge. I'm out.
I can imagine you probably said it real cute. Like, can I just have, like, one blue?
I think I was just like, yeah, probably. I probably tried everything, to be honest with you.
You said it nice. You said it like me.
I said it yeah. I said it bitchy for sure. I told them to fuck themselves a couple times. I knew, like,
oh my God.
I knew I was done. Like, I was 150% done. And I didn't know what done meant. I didn't know if done meant done for, or done using, or done fighting, or done wearing the masks, or done pretending to be something that I just, like, I mean, I don't even know how I became. I think that in that moment, I was obviously immediately sick, and I was obviously I said, I am going to prison for a very long time. Like, my whole life flashed before my eyes. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I'm out on bond. And I just got caught with, it's a 25-year minimum mandatory charge. Like, I'm going to prison, period. So I think in that moment, though, like, there was a very big sense of relief in a way.
That it was over. Yeah.
That it was over. It was just done. And, like, for me, although it didn't get to the point where I was like, so it had at different points in my life, but although that, like, 2-year span from the time that I did drug court to that point, although it wasn't, like, dope sick all the time, trying to figure out how I'm going to get one, like, the hell that I had been in and what I had to do to maintain and protect, like, that person that would do anything to get one more, that was a lot of work.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fucking work. And the extremes that I went to was just, it was insanity, you know? So the level, like, there was definitely a sense of relief. Like, thinking back on it now, obviously in different perspective, that, like, defeated and hopeless to me sometimes seem a lot like surrender. Like, those two things,
of course,
feel the same. It's almost like, I'm just done.
Yeah, one's kind of like voluntary, and one's kind of like involuntary. You know?
Whether it was forced or not or whatever, like, me saying to that cop, my life is over, was the truest statement I had made in years. My life was over. Anything that I knew of my life was fucking done from that point forward, over. And
you know what? I remember you getting clean and you talking about this charge you have.
The charge,
What's crazy is that, like, I've known you for so long, I never really knew.
Broward baby, like here doing the pill mill stuff, trafficking charge, go to jail. And I detoxed in jail in like their little detox thing. I didn't even know back then that like you're supposed to tell them like that I'm on Xanax so they can like give me a thing.
Yeah.
Literally, I'm over there dying. I think I slept for like 3 days straight.
Yeah, if you're taking Xanax, you can die. That's crazy.
So I was just like, whatever. I remember one time I like woke up in the detox unit. So they have like the beds. They have like they have like 4 cots and then 4 cots like that. And there's like people like sleeping there and they like wake you up every so often, like get your medicine. Like, I don't even know what it is. By that time I'm like, like, I don't even know what's going on. My balance is all fucked up. I'm literally just sleeping. Like I didn't even pee for like 3 days.
Wow.
Literally. I just slept and like was like so fucking sick. I remember one time I finally like couldn't sleep anymore. So like I took my head out of the blanket and there was this loud ass girl in there and she was like, "What are you in here for?" Like the first like 1 second. And I'm like, "I have a trafficking charge." She was like, "Oh girl, you're going to be in here for a year awaiting trial." And I literally was just like, put the cover back over my head and just went back to sleep. And I was like, that was the reality of it. Like there were people in there with the same charge that were literally waiting for like a year.
Wow.
Like,
just to get sentenced.
My bond
to get out.
My bond was $501,000 at first. That's what my bond was. So I called my mom right away, freaking out. "Get me out of here." She's like, "You think that we have $50,000 to put up for? We're not putting up $50,000 in cash for you. Like, are you crazy?" My dad was on a vacation with my brother. My mom didn't want to like tell them. And she was freaking out. So she's alone in the house. Like I called her and I'm like, "Mom, like I just got in very trouble. Like a lot of trouble." First God crazy moments. My bond's $501,000. I'm in there. I'm like, I'm literally staying in here. Like I'm not getting out. So I went in front of the magistrate. I'm super sick. I'm like, "Can I just not go? Can I just not, I can't even walk." And like my lawyer somehow knew the magistrate and the magistrate wasn't supposed to be there that day. And it was some weird ass thing, weird ass coincidence. And like they knew each other. And like it was just one of those things. Like call it privilege. That was probably the first time in my life that I chose not to take a thing that was happening in front of me where it was another possibility that I was sliding through and look at it like, holy shit, did I just get like a baby chance? Did I just get like a little baby chance to maybe do something different, possibly? So they wound up reducing my bond from $501,000 to $10,000 so that I could go to treatment. My mom was in the courthouse crying. He saw me on the like I'm like literally like 99 pounds, like dead. Looked like shit. He knew I got arrested 5 seconds earlier. He's like, this girl's a train wreck. She's gonna die. And they like let me out. They let me out on pretrial release. I wasn't like court ordered to treatment or anything, but they're like, you are getting out so you can go to treatment. I remember just like standing there and like everybody, I wasn't in the courtroom. It was like I don't know where I was.
It's like the TV, right?
Yeah, it's like the TV, but like it's kind of like
pod, right?
Underground or something. I don't know where it was, but
How there's underground in Florida?
Yeah, I don't know. It felt like it was underground. For sure felt like it was underground. And maybe my ears were like...
She's like, it was underground. I'm like, I don't think so. Okay.
I don't know. Like, I could picture it. But, like, everybody else can, like, hear you in the thing. So there's, like, the 2, like, guards there. And there's the TV. And then you're in, like, the cells over there. And there's, like, all the people. And they're fucking talking all annoying all the time. And I'm just like, oh, I can't. And I just remember they were silent. And I was like looking around and they were all just like staring at me. And then one girl was like, "Who are you, girl?" And I was just like, what? They're like, I like didn't even realize what had just happened.
Yeah, it's like a real miracle.
And they were just all like looking at me like, and then I was like, okay. I mean, I guess that was a big, so that's when I was like, whoa, like, was I just given like another thing? So that's kind of like where it all began for me. In terms of like getting clean. And I fought those charges for 3.5 years.
Wow. So what was life like getting out?
So I went to treatment. They wouldn't take me in detox because it had been too many days. So I was like detoxing bad for like a long time. But I went to treatment and it's so crazy. Like I found out real quick that this is about the drugs for me, but it is not about the drugs for me. I found out very, very quickly that the lifestyle, getting stuff, being in the mix was way more of an addiction for me than anything else.
The chaos.
The chaos. And there was a kid in treatment who literally wanted shit. I hooked him up with my Connect. Like I'm in there for 1 minute. Like I'm facing all these years, and like they almost caught me, and I'm like, no, it wasn't me. You know, like I went to treatment, then I went to another treatment center right after that. So I was in treatment for like a couple months. And then I met like one best friend that I still have today in treatment. Also went to Heritage. So we had like that commonality.
Wow.
I think that if I wouldn't have had so much fun, genuinely, in that the second treatment center and like getting out in halfway.
Like, well, like just so like people who are listening, you know, because like I know what you're talking about, you know, because like when you first get clean, like there's just like this like childhood wonder that happens when you get clean, that like little things are just so like playing. I remember the first time I played a board game clean. I don't think I played a board game since, but like I remember like going to someone's house and playing a board game and like thinking it was going to be so whack and boring, and like it was so fun, you know?
In the treatment center, though, we would run around the parking lot. Like we would do like jogs. So we were like starting to work out. They would take us to this one meeting on, it was at a church, on one of the nights, until they didn't anymore because then they caught on. But it was like the cute boy meeting. So we would get like super cute. We would go there and it was like all like the hot guys. So that was super fun. And it was literally just like doing each other's hair, like working out, like liking boys low key, like getting their numbers, doing calling. It was kind of like high school.
Yeah.
Again, but in like a cute way.
Yeah. It's like summer camp.
Like summer camp. Totally like summer camp. And we just had a lot of fun. Like we just genuinely did. And even though we were like counting days and wanting to get out, like I talk about this with my friend all the time. We're like, can we just please go back to those days? Because it was just enjoying life. Very little responsibilities, just worrying about like finding myself and like seeing if maybe I could like find some happiness possibly in what I had just done to myself, you know? And it was very, very hard for me to be in that like that innocent fun because I had a court case hanging over my head. So every like 2 steps forward I would make, I got out, I was in halfway, and that was super fun, you know? So it's like, you know, I wasn't in school anymore, didn't have a job anymore. So it's like beach every day.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, we're going to go to the beach today, like meeting the other halfway kids, like going to the beach, like boyfriends right away, even though we're not supposed to. Curfew, so like running home as fast as we can. Like one time we like went to like a 4th of July party on Hillsborough Beach, and I didn't know that the beaches were going to be closed like on the way back, and we were like going
late for curfew,
freaking out, like just like innocent fun, you know? And
I try to tell people like a lot of people have like this idea of halfway and sober living to be like some like prison style shithole or whatever, and it's like there's a camaraderie that happens in a sober living with like other men. That like, yeah, you guys are living in the same room, but it's like it gets you out of yourself because you're never really alone. And then you have people holding you accountable. When you're having an off day, people pull you out of your shit and you start to become friends with other people. And yeah, people might get high and do the wrong thing, but like if you're looking for the wrong thing, you're going to find it anyways.
100%.
So it's like there's a lot of positivity. And especially if you're like in a good sober living with structure and rules and whatever, like it really is a game changer for people getting clean. I needed it.
Needed it. There was no possible way without like a curfew. I mean, barely made curfew as it was. Like just having that place to go back to, just knowing that like there, you know, by that time, like I had done those 2 treatment centers and I was very, very serious about staying clean. Like I was going to meetings. I got a sponsor. I was already knew what my home group was going to be prior to even getting out of treatment. Like I had already started working steps before I got out of treatment. Like by that time, there was something that had changed in me that was like, I think I'm going to prison, but I also don't want to get high ever again. And so I just did the stuff. And but not
so
perfectly.
Crazy because I remember seeing this like happen, and I remember you getting medallions and being like, you know, I have this court case, but like God's gonna, you know, and I remember thinking like because like when I met you, you were just like this cute little blonde girl that, you know, you just wonder like, oh, like what did this girl ever do? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's interesting to hear your story now, you know.
I just basically put one foot in front of the other until it was time, and it definitely, you know. I think that probably like the biggest takeaway, like looking back on it now with like this many years clean is that it took me a long time to stop the self-destructive behavior. And it comes in so, like, even with doing, like, growing and changing and having the best of intentions, like, the disease shows up in so many different forms and in such a self-destructive way for me. Like, I could think that I'm doing all the things with all the right intentions and, you know, come to find out later, have a moment of clarity where it's like, or know damn well I'm not doing the right thing, and do it anyways too, you know. And there's been tons of times of that too, like genuinely like making a decision where I'm like, this is gonna hurt, and doing it anyways, you know. And that's the thing that, like, looking back on, I see the most. Like, I put myself through a lot of like unnecessary pain and self-destruction along the way, and very like close calls, you know. Like when I had 8 months clean, I thought it was cute that I was gonna date a crack dealer. You know, so I'm out on bond, 8 months clean. Have 1 foot in. I'm teetering on that 1 foot in and 1 foot out thing again. Yeah. I'm teetering on that. I'm wearing a mask thing again.
Was he like a nice crack dealer?
Yeah, like he was like a nice crack dealer for sure. But like the thing is that like
I'm trying to change the stigma of crack dealers because a lot of them are pretty nice.
They were super nice.
No, but really like the other day someone was like, "Oh, can you believe that they were protesting because they killed this fucking drug dealer?" And like, to be honest with you, I really have a lot of love for my drug dealer. Like,
they're just trying to.
I've met a lot of really good men that have families.
Yeah, they have families
that have work real jobs, work at FPL. You know what I mean? Like work for Comcast. You know what? They sell crack on the side, and it's like, I know it seems like fucked up or like a joke or something, but like a lot of them were like really good dudes, and I remember some of them like trying to talk to me like, yo, like, what are you doing now?
100%.
You know what I mean? And like, and like, yeah, they're selling crack, but like, they're still human beings.
100%.
And sometimes people wear those shirts that's like, kill your heroin dealer. And like, I understand with fentanyl, it's like really fucked up because people are like knowingly giving someone a drug that like kills half of their clientele or some shit.
Everybody's just wrapped up in some, like,
I wish there was a 12-step program for them, because I've talked to my drug dealer recently. And then he's like, yo, it's good to see you doing good. Like, my drug dealer came to my 13 years clean party.
That's great.
Yeah. And I remember he was like, because we started talking on Instagram. I was like, yo, bro, like, it's good to see you or whatever. And like, I try to make amends to him. I try to like pay him, and he wouldn't take the money. I was like, bro, I know this is crazy, but I'd like if you came to my 13 years clean party. And he's like, wow, bro. He's like, I really am proud of you. And he served me crack from 14 to 17. Yep. You know, I was talking to him and I was like, you know, how you doing? And he's like, bro, I want to change my life. And he's like, you know, I still struggle. And I know that means like sell drugs. Yeah. You know what I mean? But like, it's like a struggle for him, because it's like, what the fuck's he supposed to do now? Get like a regular 9 to 5? Like, he's just trying to get out of the hood or whatever. So
100%. People do what they need to do. And then also like just me being like, there's something about that lifestyle. Like I said, whether it's working out for me, or sex, or attention, or like multitasking a million things, or whatever. It's all the same for me. Whether it's using whatever, it all comes from that same place of like wanting something else outside of me to fill me, and like that's just as much of a part of my disease as any of it, you know.
Of course, I'm so tired right now. I'm like, man, I had such a long day. I like went to the gym twice. I worked all day.
Okay, 2 a day.
But at 8:30, I got to do this podcast. And so I'm like, why am I like this? Like why do I do so much? But like, sometimes it's like doing a lot is my comfort zone.
Yep.
Like, totally. I don't feel like I'm doing anything unless I'm doing too much. And I was 100%. like that with drugs. Yep. I'm like that with women. So it's like
100%.
A lot of times it's like my body's norm is this crazy, chaotic, do as much as you can. But at least most of it's positive. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
at least like
change.
I'm able to do something positive.
Yeah,
you know?
that's 100% the change. I have the same exact thing. I'm not comfortable with it being at peace, even though that's what I want the most. Yeah. You know, so like I took my entrepreneurial skills, you know, and did something with it. Like I went back to school. I waited to go back to school until my 3.5 years clean, which is when I finally went back to court.
That's so important, because I know so many people that get clean and like rush back to school.
Right.
And rush back into like unnecessary stress that they don't. I tell people all the time, like, stay clean first. And they're like, I am staying clean. And I'm like, make it to a couple years. Right. Make it to 2 years. Yeah. Like, don't do too much focus your energy on recovery and meetings. And like, if you have time to go to grad school, like you probably should be doing your 12 steps. Like you probably should
Absolutely.
be working the traditions. You probably should be like listening to speaker tapes, doing a lot of service. Like you really have to make the 12-step program kind of your priority for your first couple of years. So that way you can go do whatever you want later on, because you're not going to be able to do it the other way around.
When I worked steps, after all the homework, all the assignments I'd ever done, that was the first time that I actually ever sat down for myself and actually completed something. And I was like so proud of myself after I did like a 4th step and a 6th step that I was like, wow, out of all the work I've done, like this is what's really preparing me. So when I finally did go back to school, it was like a whole different ballgame. But yeah, I'd worked all the steps by that point. And I waited because
it's awesome. Which is so rare, because like we know so many people that have never worked the steps, that made it to step 3, that didn't complete it. You know, being clean 13 years, like it's really all I preach, because at the end of the day, I've come to realize like that's really the difference between people who change their lives and people who don't. And I'm not even going to say clean or use or whatever, but like the 12-step program is really
everybody should do
unmatched. It's insane. It's like out of every spiritual self-development course, like I've done Tony Robbins, like out of anything I've ever done, there's no greater amends to yourself, especially as a drug addict who, like our literature says, like we've harmed all these people, but most of all, we harmed ourselves. Like there's no greater amends to yourself than to work the 12 steps. And when people are like, oh, I don't want to do it, I'm like doing that 4th step is getting introduced to who you are. You know, doing like 6 and 7, like doing 11, like inner child work. Like there's so much shit that goes on in the steps that can't be explained in words.
Can't be explained in words. And that's all I wanted when I got here. Really, I mean, yeah, I wanted to not go to prison. Yeah, then after that, I wanted to know I wanted to not want to use anymore. But after like being in recovery, all I really wanted to do was get to know who I am. You know, I realized I had no idea, and I'm still learning now, you know, with 11 years clean, almost 11 years clean. The last chances that I was given was really like where I was able to say to myself, like, I got another chance on life. Like I went to court with 3.5 years clean. They offered me 8 years once.
What happened?
It was like one last chance.
But you were looking at 8 years.
No, they offered me 8. We said no. So I was probably going to run away. Probably had a plan that if it didn't go well, I was probably going to try to go to a different country. Like that's the truth.
Straight up.
If I went to trial and I lost trial, they had to give me 30 years.
The maximum.
Minimum mandatory. I had 5 years for coke and 25 for the trafficking. So
how much coke was it?
Normal amount of coke.
Okay.
That's a coke thing.
Okay,
so 5 years, whatever. So it was the trafficking one. It was the highest trafficking coke. And that's 30 years. So they had to give it to me. And people are like, well, what do you mean they have to give it to you? It's like, no, they like have to. Like if you lose, like, so it was,
when you take it to trial, that's the gamble you take.
Exactly. I said no to the offer. And so I went there on a motion to suppress evidence. I'm like, I don't understand. You know, I have this co-defendant. Our lawyers are working together. So we decided to work together, whatever. So we go there. It's like this long ass process. I'm freaking out. I'm saying to everybody, oh my God, I'm going to go to prison. And everyone's like, don't worry, you're going to be fine. And I'm like, meanwhile, they tell me later, like, yo, we thought you were so fucked. Like, we thought you were so fucked.
Yeah,
but
everyone's like, God's got you. You walk out the door and they're like, yo, she's definitely going to prison.
100%. They told me that after. But
yeah, of course.
I'm just like freaking out at that point, and I'm like crying a lot. And like I said, like I had worked the steps. So like I have a conscious contact with like my understanding of like a higher power or whatever. And like, there were some nights right before that where I was like, there is nobody that's going to answer the phone that's going to say shit to me that's going to make me feel better. And I had to like get with that very quickly, you know, like find some internal peace. And I remember thinking the day before I went to the motion, I remember thinking, having this crazy thought that came across my brain. And the thought was, if I go to prison, maybe I'm supposed to go to prison. And maybe I'm supposed to carry the message in prison. And then I was like,
nah,
what?
Fuck that.
What did you just think? That is so crazy. But like I thought it, and I couldn't unthink it once I thought it. And like it made me cry because I think that I was like at some level of like okayness with like, I've done everything I could possibly do. Like I'm showing up to court clean.
And I'll say that you didn't just go to court coming out of a coma. You know what I mean? Like you went to court with 3 years of hardcore recovery, super involved. I'm sure you had a million letters from everyone and their mom about how much you've changed your life.
Right.
Which I tell people all the time, because you get people who get clean, they're like, oh, fuck it, I'm going to go to jail anyways. I was like, bro, you know how many people I've met that like got clean and did everything they could into the last minute? Like, if you're going to say fuck it now, you're just going to say fuck it later. So like, you don't really want to stay clean. Like if going to jail like hinders you or like is the deciding factor if you want to be clean or not, like recovery's not for you. You know, this isn't something you do when you feel like it or when you don't feel like it.
Right.
Like when you choose to be clean.
Yep. No matter what.
Yeah, there's going to be scenarios where it's inconvenient as fuck to be clean. It's inconvenient as fuck to go to this meeting and call people you don't want to call. But like I tell people all the time, like recovery really taught me about life because it taught me how to do things on a consistent basis, not on an emotional basis.
100%.
I used to live my whole life on like, oh, I don't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't really want to do it. And like when you program yourself to do things you don't want to do and do things that you don't really feel like doing, that becomes a habit and it becomes like a way of life, whereas like my word is more important than my feelings. So when I say I'm going to do something, I do it, not because I feel like it, not because like it's convenient to do it, but because I said I was going to do it. So that's when like who I was started to change as a person. And honestly, like I apply it like to business, you know, like anything I do in my life, it's like, oh, I want it done yesterday. I don't want to wait till tomorrow to do things. I don't want to put things off. I want to do the whole thing correctly. I don't want to like cut corners, you know. I want to go to people and have a face-to-face conversation when I need to, you know.
Show up in that way. Absolutely.
Yeah, and show up. And like I learned that from going to area. You know what I mean? Like I learned that from going to area. I learned that from like doing service. I learned that from like picking up sponsees I don't want. You know how much patience and tolerance sponsees have taught me, you know? I don't know, everything I have in my life I've learned from the 12-step program.
Same.
Like I have friends who struggle staying clean and they're like always asking me for advice and all this stuff. I'm like, bro, you don't even go to meetings. Like I told you, like you need to go to meetings. So it's like, how do you expect me to dedicate an hour of my time on the phone to you? You won't even dedicate an hour of time for your own program. I don't want to water a dead plant. You know what I mean? I need somebody who's going to meet me halfway.
Absolutely.
It's difficult. It's difficult sometimes trying to like...
And I feel like recovery's changed a little bit. Like, I don't know if it's just me. Maybe I've changed, but I feel like it has changed in the sense that I got clean by doing... It was not easy. It was very inconvenient. Times when I did not want to. Sometimes painful, sometimes annoying, sometimes boring, sometimes really fun, sometimes whack. But like at the end of the day, I did the same stuff. All the time. Consistently. Yeah. I went to meetings every single day for months. I didn't miss a meeting. Got a sponsor, work step. I just did this things, you know? And so it's, yeah, I agree with you. Like I feel like it's changed or maybe there's a piece of it that's missing, but you know, I've lost so many.
Sometimes I want to get like soft and because sometimes I'm like, yo, you should go to meetings every day. And then like I call people or they're calling me and they're like, well, I'm like, oh, you're going every day? They're like, oh, I'm not really going every day. And a part of me is like, oh, it's okay, you know, just...
Same.
And then I'm like, what am I saying?
Yeah.
No, it's not okay, bro. You need to go every day. I went every day.
Right? Like, you went every day,
yeah,
right?
I went every day for years.
Same here.
I think my first 2 years, I probably missed like 5 meetings.
Same.
And when I would miss a meeting, I'd go to 2 the next day,
Same.
you know? And people were like, yeah, but you were like young. I'm like, all right, well, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, bro, because that's like what I did. And like, I can't like tell you to do something different.
If you ask 10 people... Pick 10 people who have been clean 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. I will promise you that all 10 of them went to meetings every single day.
For sure.
I've done it before.
For sure. 1,000%. 1,000,000%.
Yeah. So, and that's right. The just show up thing. And that's like literally what I do. So.
And there's no substitution for it. Like you can't be so smart that you don't need to go every day. Like you can't be like, you can't have it all together that like seat time is seat time. You know what I mean? It's like fitness. It's the same thing. It's like
100%.
Going to the gym is going to the gym. You're never going to be somebody that can go 3 times a week. It's like I go to the gym every day because it's such a habit. And when I don't go, it like fucks up my whole life, you know? So it's
mentally,
like
spiritually.
My trainer the other day was like, oh, you should take a day off because I think you're working out too much. And I remember like instantly being like, no, I can't do that. Like I tried to. My body just gets up and goes to the gym in the morning.
Yeah. It winds, right. The habit part of it
end
is
up
big.
there.
100%. Yeah. Same. That's pretty much.
But yeah, what were you saying? Like we've lost so many people.
We've lost so many people and so many friends. And I think I was talking about the patience and the tolerance and how many of those people, like towards the end where it was like continuously relapsing and continuously loving them and continuously being like, please do this. And I'll go with you and these things, and that it gets to that it has gotten to a point for me where, so many of those I look back on and I'm like, damn, like it's either I either see myself like being like making excuse or like being like, no, it's okay, or like distancing myself in a way because it's so challenging to explain to somebody how simple it is, even though it's so hard and it doesn't like click until it clicks.
Yeah,
for
and
me.
sometimes it's like, people call me and call me and call me and want to talk on the phone for like hours and hours. It's like being a personal trainer and someone telling you like why they're overweight. Eat less and work out more. Like it seems so simple on this side of the street, like, because it's just so obvious. But at the same time, like, I remember using and feeling like nobody cared.
Right.
Feeling like it's not that easy.
Yep.
Feeling like I'm trying my hardest. Like when
100%.
you're using, you think like you're trying like everything you got. You're like,
yeah, I'm really trying not to do
yeah,
it.
you're
bad.
like really, yeah, you really think that like this is like not working for you. Like there's
Right.
no way it can work for you. So at the same time, like I don't want to lose empathy for people that can't stay clean either. But like sometimes
Never, right.
I have to draw boundaries and be like, just like we tell family members to be like, look, like if you don't get clean or do the things you need to do, like I need to protect my own sanity because I've gotten so fucking far down the rabbit hole with trying to save people like in early
Same.
recovery that like
Same.
it's so draining sometimes because we've been clean almost about the same amount of time. So like we've seen it all.
I'm just thinking about all the people as like that we literally tried to save.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, I have to stop.
Yeah, because there's a fine line between like support and control. And it's like, I try to teach that to parents. It's like, look, why would your kid get clean if he has a roof over his head and money in his pocket? Like, I mean, I would move in right now and start shooting heroin in there. It's like, at some point you have to set certain boundaries. And I'm not going to say that if you do X, Y, and Z, your kid's going to live because that's their fears. Like if I kick my kid out of the house, is he going to die? If he's here, at least I could watch him. At least I could check in on him. But it's kind of like playing blackjack. It's like, this is the proper protocol to do. And like when you have a 19, you don't hit. That's just what it is. Right. I don't know if it's going to be 21, but that's just the proper protocol. Like, that's just what it is. Statistically, over time, that's been the proven method that if you have a using kid at the house and you kick him out, it's going to hopefully push him to seek recovery or
quicker,
seek some type of treatment.
Absolutely.
And it's not going to say that he's not going to leave that night and die. But it's also not the right way to live with a using addict in your house.
And I've done that. I've done that clean. Using addicts in my house many times because of the love. Just feeling like I
control.
I need to help them. And who knows? Like, but yeah, I think that's all part of like the journey, and that and it's so sad. Like especially like these days, like that's probably been the hardest part of my recovery is that we live in a community, especially now with what's gone on. It's like the pill mill thing was a big fiasco. And then we come into this time where it's like, can you take me back to the pill mill? Because at least my friends weren't dying, And it's like, so now we're in this time period, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I think the last like 5 years, it's been like so many deaths after one that you can't even like remorse or like go through any type of grief from the last one, that they've just been like consecutively. Like no one prepares you for that when you get clean. Like there's no like thing that like when you get clean, you're just thinking about yourself the whole time. But when you start to watch like your friends relapse and then their parents call you and now you're like, fuck, this is what I put my parents through. I can't believe I fucking was acting like this. Then you start to, I started spending more time with my parents because I started to feel and have empathy because my whole life I thought I was a sociopath, where I started to be like, wow, I've been like really fucking selfish my whole life.
I never thought that I would be on the other side of the thing where it's I really was able to relate to my parents and my family and my brother and all the people that I worried. Like we don't think anybody's there for us when we're getting high. We think nobody cares. Nobody's watching, to think about all the people that actually do, and then to see that and part of me is always feels devastated and then so grateful because I don't have, and not to say that I don't go through the grief and go through the feelings and think about it often in my day, but like the gratitude that again, like just had another chance. I don't know why. I don't know how. I mean, I think I know how I did it, you know, just doing the same thing you probably did. But like the gratitude of just buying in, I guess, and just doing it. Like I just didn't want to get high anymore.
And even over the years, it's like I've had friends like step away from the program. And there's plenty of times I want to step away from the program too. There's plenty of times where I've been like, oh, I don't really need to go to meetings. You know, work has been crazy. Like, do I really need fucking 12 sponsees right now? You know, do I really got to go to this convention? Like, you know, you go to a meeting and you just feel, you know, you like hate people now that are there because they've done you dirty or like they talk shit about you and you just, you know, that doesn't happen.
All that.
Yeah, you know, so it's like in the beginning that doesn't really happen.
We don't get into that now,
that doesn't really happen. But like the longer you stay clean, you start to like ruffle people's feathers and they start to ruffle yours, and you have people that don't meet expectations and you have people that fucking gossip, which is like natural in any community.
Natural in any
it's
community.
It's not just a 12-step program. It's any community that stuff goes on. And the solution is just go to a different meeting or to like learn to just deal with it. Or to forget,
you know, in my experience, I've had a few, you know, like I haven't had the easiest, it's not like I'm part of like a big group in recovery. Yeah. So like if there is anybody listening that's like, I don't want to be, you know, with a bunch of people doing recovery. Like I have a close friends. They're all part of like different groups. I don't do a group thing. Yeah. I never have. And like, so because of that, there are times that I've felt left out or felt, you know, a certain way or not really like fit in, kind of like high school.
Yeah.
In that sense, there are people who have been straight up mean to me. But like, because I do live the way that I live, I've had those situations where I literally say, you know what? I'm just going to literally forgive them. And that's it. And I just do that.
Yeah, I'm still working on how to do that. I'm a pretty resentful person.
You are?
Yeah.
No, you're not.
I swear.
I don't believe you.
If someone does me wrong or I feel like someone spited me, I just have this thing in me where I just like never talk to them ever again and just like X them out of my life.
Really?
Yeah, I'm so crazy.
I don't believe you.
I'll hold on to it for like 1,000,000 years. Yeah, 10 lifetimes I'll still be thinking about it.
If that was,
it's really like,
I get it though. I get it.
It takes a lot to get me there, but when I get there, like that's my biggest thing is like, why does it still bother me? It's been years. Like, why does like, and it's not that like I think every day about like how much I hate them, but like,
you just don't want them in your presence.
You just don't want them in your energy. This weird thing that like once I cut somebody off, I just never want to talk to them ever again. I don't have this thing of like, oh, let's be friends again, or like we're cool.
I didn't say I was friends with them.
Okay. You can forgive them. Maybe I just need to forgive someone like.
That's an internal thing.
An internal thing. Yeah, I think I got in better with. Honestly, I started going to therapy, and my therapist has helped me bring it to a different degree. He was telling me like, there's a time where I didn't want to go somewhere because I didn't want to see this person. You know, he teaches me RBT, something like that. It's like rational, whatever, behavioral therapy. So he's like, well, you want to go, but you're not going to go because of this. So you're actually limiting yourself from what you want. So how can you get what you want and still be okay? And he was like, if you don't like this person, was there a time where you didn't like this person, but you're still able to go to these types of things? And now it's gotten heightened. I was like, yeah, well, before it was just like annoying. And now it's kind of like, if I see this person, I want to hit them.
Okay. So we're talking about serious, like a serious thing. All right.
So he was like, well, maybe you could just think about like how it used to be where it was just kind of annoying. And then I was like,
do we low-key have the same therapist maybe? I don't know.
Maybe. My therapist is so on point.
Yeah, so is mine. So yeah.
Is it a guy? Dr. K?
No.
It'd be so weird to be the same therapist.
Yeah, no, because that's very similar to like what I'm working on. But I think it's interesting to note that like the adding on later of therapy or other things.
If anyone's listening and you've been clean for 5 years and you've worked the steps and you've never gone to therapy, like you're missing out.
I'd have to agree with that.
I think anyone in general needs to go to therapy.
Yeah.
If you don't think you need to go to therapy, that's how you know you need to go to therapy. Like my dad's like, I would never go to therapy ever. I was like, the whole family's like, oh, okay. You know, it really blows my mind how some people have never gone to therapy. It's like you've never got a massage. It's like such a clear, relaxing thing for the clutter in your brain that is just like it organizes resentment, trauma, your past childhood stuff that comes up now. And when you're living your life, it's just all connected and you don't really see any of it.
And everything gets grouped. So when there's one issue, it's an issue with everything.
Yeah, it triggers all of it. So like when someone cuts you off on the fucking highway, hits this memory, that hits another memory, that hits another memory, that hits like in childhood, like some fucking kid puts you down on the ground.
A lot of trauma.
And it just like all goes through. And when that's not unresolved, you're way more reactive.
100%. I'm learning that a lot. Like, that's kind of where I'm at today, is like, the reason why I said, do we have the same therapist, is because you said something about wants and, you know,
not getting what you want.
Yeah. So it's a lot for me about like, what do I truly want? What behavior is not aligned with really me getting what I want in life and following that path that I've started to declutter, you know, the way to get on that path to really like be able to like really truly get what I, you know, want and desire. And, you know, there's the authenticity in that. And that's some like next level shit. And it's just now like starting to be the thing that I'm doing.
And like find a good therapist, because my whole thing, like people would tell me you need to go to therapy, you know? and I remember I was like, yeah, I know, but I just can't find it. So like I remember I went to like 3 therapists and just like stopped because I just didn't like any of them. And then I really made it a priority, and I got this girl that works for me like recommended this therapist. And the first time I went, it was like, it felt like this is exactly what I've been looking for. Sometimes I talk to people that go to therapy and they're like, oh, well, it wasn't really, I didn't really like it or whatever. I'm like, well, probably wasn't a good therapist that you liked or whatever. And not for nothing, like you get what you pay for.
Yeah, I got a recommendation, also a referral from somebody. And also like, I think I was just at the point where I was ready. Like I knew that I needed something different, and I was ready to like, for me, there was only so much that I could do on my own. Like I was just ready. I was like ready for that, you know? And I think that either way, it's kind of like going to a meeting in a sense, is like when you're ready and you're like there to like hear a message, or really in anything in life, like when you're open to it, like it comes to you, you know?
Sure.
So crazy experiences every single time. Like I'm definitely somebody who believes like, do all the stuff that you can. Like I'm super into like self develop. Like I feel like I will never stop growing. Maybe that's just the way that I chase in general, but like I feel like I'll always like chase a level of like at the next level of serenity. And you know, I could tell anybody else, like I was telling my ex-boyfriend forever, you need to go to therapy. Yeah. And then one day he said, you know what, you need to go to therapy. And I was like, yeah, okay. You're right, you know? So that's like when I started going, but yeah, it's definitely been a game changer.
One of my goals of the show is to try to make therapy normal, because normally when you tell people that you go to therapy, they're like, oh my God, so sorry about that, you know, whatever. But when you tell people you have a personal fitness trainer, they're like, oh, cool, great, that's awesome. You're investing in yourself. It's self-care. But like a lot of people think that to see a therapist, you need to be suicidal or like on the verge of financial ruin or like in a toxic relationship. Therapy is is one of the most loving things you could do for yourself. Like I have a friend who's like super successful. He's got like the nicest cars, the nicest house, like lives super like big, whatever. And I'm like, you've never been to therapy? He was like, no, why do I go to therapy? And I was just like, dude, you have all this luxury. Like, well, why do you want luxury? So you could have peace, so you could feel calm, so you could have like all these things. But like what goes on between your ears is so important. And like literally 3 therapy sessions can alter your level of peace and serenity and bring your relationships on a 10 level. You can rekindle stuff with your dad. Like I have a friend of mine who did like some hardcore therapy, and he hated his mom his whole life. And then just by going to therapy, started to see why his mom was the way she was and have some empathy for her, was able to rekindle his relationship with his mom. And then literally like 2 months later, she died. So he was like, wow, imagine if I never went to therapy, I would have just always lived my whole life thinking like I hate my mom.
Yeah, 100%. I think that like, you know, my goal, and I think pretty much probably everybody's goal, is to like be happy, have a sense of peace, have a sense of freedom. And like, I don't know about anybody else, but like for me, what goes on in here, my thinking is not on right all the time. Like it is not on point. I tell people all the time, like, I'm crazy. Yeah. I'm fucked up. I got so many fucking issues. Like, that's why I go to meetings. I don't go to meetings because I want to help everybody. Like, I go to meetings because like I would be a fucking mess without it. And it's not that like I need meetings, but I've been able to operate at such a high level. Yes. With some type of peace and serenity. And I've been able to, even though I do have some drama in my life, I've avoided so much more drama. Yes. Because I go to meetings and because I have a sponsor and because I go to therapy. So as much weird, crazy shit that goes on in my life,
it's pretty drama free compared to like
What
the
it- what-
shit that
what it could be.
what could have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that like it's really important to also mention that for me, like success is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I always wanted to be successful.
For
I
sure.
sold drugs. I mean, had a little
Yeah.
business thing going, you know?
Yeah, he's a boss bitch.
So, thank you. So when I went back to school,
Mm-hmm.
so my charges wound up getting dropped. That's what wound up happening.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a motion to suppress evidence. The judge granted me a motion to suppress evidence. He believed my testimony over the cop's testimony. And like after that point, I was like, I can do anything in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can do anything. Like I stayed clean. Like there was no part of that was fake or anything. And like I'm just gonna chase my dreams. Like I'm just gonna go for it. You know, everything. I saw that for the first time as just another chance on life, like for real.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, wow, like I'm gonna fucking live, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I went back to school for business. And I think it's like super important.
Wow, you were almost done with grad school, or did you finish grad school?
No, I didn't. I was about to go back to grad school.
So you're about to go back to grad school? So
And then I decided not to, and I jumped ship to a totally different thing.
Wow, so you must have had like 100 and something credits and then just went back.
So I was in a doctorate program.
What?
I was in a
Wow.
PsyD program. I had like
Wow.
a year under. I only had a year under my belt, but they were gonna let me back in,
Uh-huh.
and I got accepted in,
Mhm.
and then I didn't want to. I said no, and I went back to Nova
Wow.
to get my MBA.
And you got it, or you're getting it?
Got it.
You have an MBA in business?
Mhm.
That's badass.
Thanks.
So cool.
So I started my own business,
Mm-hmm.
and
Sweat equity.
yeah, and
Shout out.
thanks. Yeah. So started a fitness business with my dad as my partner.
Mm-hmm.
So that, you know, talking about therapy and all the thing, you know, chase your dreams, like,
Mhm.
you know, go for it. Like, I don't regret anything, but there has been some significant things that have come up for me, like in my dealings in business, in how I chase and how much business is like selling drugs and
Mhm.
using.
Yeah.
And that whole dynamic of like million things at once, like whatever.
Mhm.
And so
Putting out fires constantly.
constantly like
Mhm.
never having enough time, like, and it's, I think you said that earlier,
Mhm.
but I was laughing in my head because I'm like, it is so similar, you know? And that's why like sometimes my reactions to it are the way that they are. And if I didn't like have like some sort of therapy or something to like, I think every successful person
Mm-hmm.
like takes that time and does some form of self-development,
Mhm.
self-healing, like meditation, something like that. Like
Mhm.
everything I read and everything, like that seems to be like the thing across the
For
board.
sure.
So, you know, as much of a stigma as it has, like my own personal opinion and just what I've read and stuff, like anybody who's successful even
Mhm.
like has to do that. I mean, I would have like no emotional intelligence to be able to deal with people if I
Yeah.
like didn't do certain, like if I didn't go to therapy and
Of
didn't do
course,
certain
just
things.
like basic things because like, you know, I think when I first started, you know, my business, like I guess like the harder way, and I only had this idea of like I'm not working hard unless I'm like killing myself.
Yeah.
So I only knew how to work at this like take on too much, answer every single call, respond to every text message. Like I only knew how to do that because if I missed a call, I would have like this shame of like I'm not working hard enough. And like I had this idea of like just grind mode and beast mode and like fuck,
Yeah.
you know, and like I didn't go to the gym for like a couple of years and I just made my business my priority and it worked for a while. But like in life, you have to like level up. And I remember I was like so stressed out, like borderline suicidal, like for real.
Been there.
Calls, emails, this person, the fucking P&Ls are all fucked up, revenue's down,
Mhm.
expenses are up. I don't know where the money's going.
Yep.
Fucking this person has a 90-day review. This person has an annual review. This person's quitting. We have to fucking do it. Like it just, and I remember I hired this lady who used to work for this guy who has a business like 5 times the size of mine. And I always look up to like their business because I just think they're like the best. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you used to work with so-and-so. Like he must be like out of his mind. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, I mean, I work a lot and I'm fucking pretty. I'm almost out of my mind, need to be in a straitjacket. This guy must be losing it. He has 500 employees. Like this guy must be going insane.
He's like in like Italy.
Yeah.
like on a vacation and like on like an island somewhere.
Not just
like,
that. You know what she tells me? She was like going crazy. She's like, no, I think he's just having fun. And I remember I was like, fun? This guy's having fun? I'm over here busting my fucking ass.
Yeah.
He's having fun. And I think that's when I had like a real epiphany with business. You know, like when you fly a plane, they teach you that when the plane goes down, like what someone who does that is not experienced is they grab it. They grab the wheel or whatever, the joystick with like two hands really strong. They call it the death grip. Someone who's experienced will not do that and will be able to think about what they need to do. And I think that's kind of what I was doing, is that I was just in like this fight or flight mode that I just started to like be overbearing and over controlling and over stressed out. And now that the business has kind of grown, you know, I get calls that to a normal person must be insane. This person's in the hospital and this person's going to sue you. And the attorneys over here said that fucking whatever. And like, I don't have an emotional, I'm not as reactive as I used to be. And I have this idea that I no longer have this impending doom of what if this all fails, which I had for years.
I still have that. I'm not even going to lie.
Yeah, I had this fucking impending doom. Like, what if this just all fucking doesn't work out?
I have that every single day.
And people would be like, you're so successful. And I'd be going home like, when am I going to be successful?
Yep.
Like, when is it going to like, when is it? And I
work.
still feel that way.
Right.
Like, when are we going to have that next thing? Like, when is the business going to take a turn?
Yeah.
You know? When I feel stressed out, I try to think about what that lady said. Like, I think he's just having fun.
That's the biggest thing. That's exactly where I'm at. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Just being on the journey.
Mm-hmm. To wrap up, you moved your business.
I just moved my business after 5 years being in the same location. We just moved, downsized, opened up a sister business, like meal prep, supplements with the fitness. So of course, instead of backing out of the business on the move, I decided to like basically rebrand, restructure, redo work. But like,
cool.
That's it. That's I guess that's just what I do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, well, I appreciate you coming out. It's been a hell of a time. It's always good to see you.
Thank you. It's good to see you too.
And you have
Appreciate
a cool
you
story.
having me.
Appreciate you. Congrats on coming up on 11 years, huh?
11 years soon.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
This show is not affiliated with any specific 12-step program. If you or a loved one is struggling with an addiction, please find a local 12-step meeting. If you believe you may need detox or drug treatment of any kind, please call 888-699-9395 to speak to a specialist. This show is sponsored by United Recovery Project, a state-of-the-art drug and alcohol rehab facility. You can visit our website at unitedrecoveryproject.com.